What's up, y'all? It's your girl Eyevry, also Marley Badu, and I'm here with Tiffany from Love Circle. She's going to be interviewing me today for my Surrender Project.
So, Eyevry, what is the Surrender Project? Like, how did you get started?
The Surrender Project is something that I came up with when I guess I was going through my own shadow work, doing my own healing, and I felt like God was just telling me to surrender a lot of stuff in order for me to grow and to move. So when I thought about that, I thought about how easy it was for me to have like relations with other people once I surrendered things that I was attached to. So with that being said, I just thought about how that works in my life with my friendships, relationships that I have been in, how it would have benefited me. And then like going forward with like how I move towards people, I like being more transparent. It's just more clarity, knowing that you're not carrying like baggage into a situation. So I started the Surrender Project really in November 2017. Yeah. So I started it when I was in basic training. I had a group of friends and we sat around and we just talked. And when I talked to a lot of them, I kept hearing them tell me stuff like, you know, like me and this person split up because of this. Or this person found out this and they didn't want to be with me anymore. Or, you know, I'm hiding this and I don't know how to tell this person. And I was just thinking about the stuff I had to surrender and how it felt for me. And I was just like, look, I think the best thing for us to do is to just write to ourselves, write everything, surrender, every secret, everything from beginning to end, just put it on paper, write it down, and surrender it to God. Yeah. And then when you meet a person that you do want to be with or you do want to surrender that side of yourself to, you get them the book in the beginning. So that way it's nothing hiding, it's nothing in the background, it's nothing they could find out later about you because you wrote that book before you met them. You surrendered everything before you got with them. So the Surrender Project would be like taking time to yourself to write, submit, give everything away, and then when you're ready to move out into the world and have relationships with people as far as friendships, business partners, lovers, whatever, you able to give that to them because you already released it. So Surrender Project was something I started there doing with some girls in my basic training. It helped a lot of people. It helped a lot of people move on with their relationships. We ended up burning all of it in the fire. But it just helped them all just feel like, you know, I can be this person. I can be transparent. And I don't have to put a facade up. I just need to learn how to love myself. So, yeah.
So when did you decide to love yourself? Like, because that takes a lot of vulnerability, a lot of, like, honesty and transparency. Like, because I know on my journey, I realized a lot of stuff about myself. And I'm like, bro, you really like this?
Yeah.
Like, and then I had to differentiate between the symphony that I had to create to protect myself and the symphony that I actually am, like who I am. Right. So when did you decide, like, it's time for me to surrender, like, I really need to be serious?
I'm going to say when I went to the military, when I started to go to the military, that was it for me. I really was running away from life, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the hood. Stayed in the streets my whole life, and I kind of was content with living in pain. And it was to a certain extent where I was just like, you know, like, I can't survive like this no more. I got kids in this world. This ain't gonna be a move for me to keep going into because they can't live through the pattern that I had to live through. So I just ran. I was running from just life, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna join the military. Join the military, and once you go to basic training, you don't have no phone, you don't have no TV, ain't no music you listening to, ain't no radio, nothing. You in solitude. And when you in solitude, you get to see what you was addicted to. Your things that you were craving, the parasites that you have, you get to see that shit. And for me, it was just like, damn, I realized like the stuff that was toxic within me because I had to sit by myself. I never got time to hear God when you out in the streets and you running around and you living, you surviving. You ain't hearing God in no survival. You just doing what you know, instinct. And so when I was in basic training, I'm content. I ain't got to worry about bills. I ain't got to worry about nothing. I could just sit and listen to God. And when I did that, it was just like I learned a lot about myself that I wanted to work on. I learned who I really love. I learned what love really was. I learned love was unconditional and not conditional. It was a lot of things that I learned, and I just loved how I was spending time with myself, that self-love. And it made me feel accomplished because I was actually doing something for myself, not just surviving. I was actually investing into myself. And that's when I started falling in love with myself. My real hair, not wearing weaves, not needing lashes, not caring about fashion trends and shit like that, because you're deprived of everything. You just gotta learn to look in the mirror and be happy with you. So that's kind of when it started for me, embracing who I was, like just loving me for me and what I had inside.
So what was your childhood like? Like growing up, what was your relationship like with your parents and your siblings? Because for you to have to go on a self-love journey, you had to like miss that growing up. So what was your journey like growing up to get you to be the woman that you are today?
It was horrible. It was horrible. Like, when we were little, we stayed in shelters a lot. Like, my mom didn't have a stable place to stay. My dad was dealing with his addictions. He wasn't taking care of us, and we was jumping from shelter to shelter. My mom was on Section 8. HUD, I don't know if people know what that is, but it's just they give you little housing communities, little apartments to stay in, and the rent was like $1. My mom was losing apartments for $1 rent, so shit was bad. Like lights was off, water was off. I had to walk to my neighbor's house, borrow water, boil that shit on the stove just to take baths and shit. It was real crucial. You know what I'm saying? And then when my father was in the picture, he was super abusive. You feel me? Like, beat on us, slam me through tables, throw beer cans at us, full beer cans. It was a lot of, like, sexual shit going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't have friends come over. He'll walk around the house naked, his dick hard, like, just doing shit to run people away. I had to deal with sexual abuse by him. You know what I'm saying? Being young, you sleep, you just feel somebody kissing on you and shit. And, like, my mom wouldn't really, like, leave him. You know what I'm saying? Like, she wouldn't leave him. She wanted. So at that moment, I didn't really understand what love was. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand none of that shit. Like, I just understood that from what I knew, she was being weak. You know what I'm saying? And I just didn't like the essence of a female. You know what I'm saying? Because I just felt like that was just weak shit. Like, you got to get with a man and do that, like, and go through this with your kids. You feel me? And that shit just made me real bitter, real angry, hateful, violent. You know what I'm saying? So childhood was just fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get no good grades. Like, I went to alternative schools. I went to this school called CEP. Everybody know it is Children Entering Prison. Like, shit was fucked up. We gotta take our shoes off, get your soles snatched out. They gotta search under your bra and your panties every morning, through your socks. Like, it's just a lot of shit. Like, a lot of shit. Like,
So what do you think led you to that?
Angry. You just be angry. Like, I felt like I wasn't existing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just felt like.
What age is this?
This from jump. This from jump. All the way up into the age of probably like 13, 14. I started running away and shit then, and just taking care of myself. Like, I really wasn't at home. Like, my mom didn't really care because we was out in the streets. Like, I'd be at some friend's house for 2 weeks, or I'd just be out in the streets for like 2-3 weeks, just doing my own thing. But yeah, up until like 14, 15, until I got my first job, I was just in the streets, in and out the streets.
So what changed for you then once you got a job?
Well, I got the job because my best friend, like, her mom, I met my best friend. So my best friend got a little brother, and he used to walk the street up and down the hood or whatever. And I was just in the streets, you feel me? And I'm walking in the middle of the night, and I see him, and he was just like, "Why you outside so late? It's like 3 in the morning." And I'm just like, I ain't got nowhere to go. I'm just chilling. So he was like, "Man, you come to my house. Like, you come stay at my house. My people don't want to care." And I'm just like, "Nah, bro. Like, you trying to bring a girl home? Like, your parents gonna flip. You feel me?" And he was just like, "No, my people them ain't like that. Like, you can't be in the street tonight." And he walked me to his house. snuck into his house, stayed the night. His people then found out. They was mad, but then when his mom reached out to my mom, she called my mom. My mom was like, you know, you can keep her. So I ended up staying with them, and like I started seeing what a family was. Like they parents was like Will and Jada's. You feel me? Like they loved each other. Their dad was super, super witty. The mom just real, like loving. We got the same birthday, so it was just the energy was just the same. And I saw love in that house that made me want to apply myself. You know what I'm saying? That made me realize outside of the hell I was living in, like it was possible. Something was possible to have, like the Cosby life. So it made me feel like try more, being independent, try getting a job, and then that's when I kind of like started applying for jobs.
We have a lot of similarities in our stories because, like, when I first experienced love is when I got to college, like, and being in concert choir and being around them, like, that became my family dynamic. Like, that showed me what unconditional love is versus conditional love, because I wasn't taught that. Like, so who are some influential people that, like, have been in your life?
Like I said, my best friend parents, for sure. Miss Gloria and Mr. Ty, very influential people in my childhood. As far as like outside of that, I would have to say Don Miguel Ruiz. Like I learned about his story, the dude who wrote the 4 Agreements. It's another dude named William Hollis, who's a motivational speaker. And he just had a story that just hit me so hard because he used to go break into crack houses just to sleep with his mom and be around his parents and shit. And look where he at now just by speaking. So it's just like he motivated me a lot. Of course, Erykah Badu and Lauryn Hill, just their conscious level, showed me like on a mental level where I should be as a woman versus what I'm facing. You know what I'm saying? So definitely Erykah Badu. That's like mom to me. Y'all my imaginary mom in my head. So, yeah, those people.
So what do you want people to know about the Surrender Project? Like, what are you trying to, what's the end goal? Like, what are we trying to get people to do? Because it's not just some one person stuff. Like, this is going to affect the world.
Right. So, with the Surrender Project, I really just want people to, like, live in their truth. Really, live in your truth. Be transparent, like, a lot of times I feel like when we meet people, the main thing we want to do is tell them what we think they want to hear. Because we done observe them and we see what they like. So we feel like, I'm going to just tell them the stuff that I got that's relatable to them. But I'm not going to tell them the shit I'm dealing with. You know what I'm saying? That they could possibly help me with or whatever the case may be. So with the Surrender Project, I want people to be into transparency, living in that truth, not being ashamed of your past, you know what I'm saying? Shit you had to do, like understanding that we are human, and however we learn is how we learn. It's just who we are now that matters. You know what I'm saying? So I want people to be bold in that. Be bold in whatever it is you struggling with, dealing with, have struggled with, like whatever addictions you have. It's who you end up as. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I just want people to feel like when they meet others or have relationships with others, they can get used to transparency, clarity, just having it in the room. You know what I'm saying? Pushing that movement like of healing. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we broken just because people can't tell us the truth. Our parents don't tell us the truth, or you know what I'm saying? People lie to us. That's been like the history of America. You know what I'm saying? We live off lies. So it's like just pushing clarity, truth, transparency, so you can get what you want. You know what I'm saying? Like speaking truth. That's just what I want to push that out. And healing. Most importantly, healing. Like that's most important.
So the basis is self-love, self-care. Like you're just trying to heal yourself, understand yourself enough so that you can be able to speak that to somebody else so that they can love you. And you can be okay with loving yourself.
Most definitely.
That's beautiful.